Welcome to Grace. My name is Rigo, and this is Church.
Genesis 24, 34 to 38, 42 to 49, and 58 to 67. So he said, I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become wealthy. He has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, male and female slaves, camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and he has given him all that he has. My master made me swear, saying, You shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites in whose land I live, but you shall go to my father's house, to my kindred, and get a wife for my son. I came today to the spring and said, O Lord, the God of my master Abraham, if now you will only make successful the way I am going, I am standing here by the spring of water. Let the young woman who comes out to draw, to whom I shall say, Please give me a little water from your jar to drink, and who will say to me, Drink, and I will draw for your camels also. Let her be the woman whom the Lord has appointed for my master's son. Before I had finished speaking in my heart, there was Rebekah coming out with her water jar on her shoulder, and she went down to the spring and drew. I said to her, Please let me drink. She quickly let down her jar from her shoulder and said, Drink, and I will also water your camels. So I drank, and she also watered the camels. Then I asked her, Whose daughter are you? She said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. So I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her arms. Then I bowed my head and worshipped the Lord and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me by the right way to obtain the daughter of my master's kinsman for his son. Now then, if you will deal loyally and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, so that I may turn either to the right hand or to the left. And they called Rebekah and said to her, Will you go with this man? She said, I will. So they sent away their sister Rebekah and her nurse along with Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, May you, our sister, become thousands of myriads. May your offspring gain possession of the gates of their foes. Then Rebekah and her maids rose up, mounted the camels, and followed the man. Thus the servant took Rebekah and went his way. Now Isaac had come from Beer-lahai-roi and was settled in the Negeb. Isaac went out in the evening to walk in the field, and looked up. He saw camels coming. And Rebekah looked up, and when she saw Isaac, she slipped quickly from the camel, and said to the servant, Who is the man over there, walking in the field to meet us? The servant said, It is my master. She took her veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. Then Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent. He took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. So Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
Well, before we start Genesis 24, I just want to make a public service announcement. I have a nephew, and my nephew's name is Isaac. And Isaac is not just any Isaac. He made the Dean's List of University of Toronto. And Isaac has never really shared too much of an interest in dating. I don't know of him dating anybody, in fact. And he's always been open to the idea of an arranged marriage. So if you are interested in somebody from a Dean's List of University of Toronto, then you could contact me and I'll contact the family, and perhaps your story could mimic the story that we see here in Genesis 24. Well, in all seriousness, by the time we get to Genesis 24, Abraham has lived a long life. He's left the place where he grew up just because God called him. And he's gone off to this new place. And in that journey, lots of things happen. But along the way, God provided. Sure, there were times where Abraham wanted to do it his way or thought, oh, maybe I have to do it my way. But each time along the way, God provides. And Abraham's trust grows and grows and grows. Well, in Genesis 23, Sarah has passed away. So in the previous chapter, Sarah has passed away. And Abraham recognizes he's old, Sarah's passed away. It's time I find some land to bury my family. So when I die, my family, we could all be buried together. And so he buys this land. That's the first thing. But in Genesis 24, right after that, he says to his servant, Eliezer, where we can find in Genesis 15 too. In Genesis 15, Abraham's complaining to God, I have everything, right? I've been successful in my job. I've been successful in the farm. I've been successful in accumulating wealth. I've been successful in everything. But there's one sad fact, that I don't have anybody to leave these items to. And that's where, and he complains, he says, actually, I'm going to have to send it to Eliezer. Eliezer is a family member, so he will get everything. In Genesis 15, God says, no, that's not going to happen. You don't need to worry about that. As much as the stars in the sky, I promise you, you'll have generations and generations and generations. And well, now we have in Genesis 24, Abraham calling Eliezer, that same person who was about to inherit everything in Genesis 15, and says, listen, I have this huge responsibility for you. And I need you not to take it lightly. In fact, I need you to give me an oath. I need you to go home. Go back to where we came from. The place that we are is a great place. God's promised it to us. But it's not a place of people that serve the same God that we serve. And so I would like you to go back home and find somebody for my son Isaac, so that he could have somebody as good as Sarah in his life, somebody who follows the same God. And Eliezer says, okay, I give you that oath. So Eliezer goes back and he prays. Before he finishes his prayer, Rebekah shows up. Rebekah doesn't know that a pop quiz is happening. Rebekah doesn't know that she's being tested. But Rebekah goes and offers him water. And without hesitation, she says, and I will also give your camels water. The exact test that was laid out. Well, Eliezer says, I need to go home to your family. Is it possible? Can you show me who your family is? And when he gets there, he says who he is. Oh, I am Abraham's servant. Abraham was married to Sarah, who had a son, Isaac, and here I am. And here was a test that was laid out. And God showed me that by Rebekah's actions, she is the one. Now, Rebekah is also a lady of faith. Just like Abraham was a man of faith who said, God, wherever you want me to go, I will go. Rebekah hears the story and she says, I don't know who Isaac is. I haven't met Isaac, but I will go. And she goes and she meets Isaac, and it says Isaac loved her, and Isaac was comforted by her. Our God is a provider. In the story of Abraham from the very beginning, Abraham is a man who has faith, right? God, you want me to go somewhere? I'll go. But then once he starts going, oh, wait a second, this king might want Sarah, so just let me give half truths and say that she is my sister. Oh, you promised me descendants, but how is that really going to happen? Let me take Hagar as my wife. Oh, then the three visitors come, and then sure enough, Abraham has Isaac. And then by that time, Abraham's faith had grown so much that God was a deliverer. He got the relationship back with Lot. He got the relationship right with Isaac. He provided when Isaac was to be sacrificed. And Abraham said, Abraham is a totally different man than he was at the very beginning. At the very beginning, he would have been like, sure, God, I have faith. But then he would have tried to figure it out on his own. In this story, Abraham is vastly different. Over years of having a relationship with God, he starts to figure out, you know what? I have my own ways. I have my own ideas. I could try to do it on my own, but really it has to be God. God is the one. If God says something, I just need to act out in faith and God will provide the rest. This week I got this message, an email from somebody who had watched our previous message about, the Lord will provide. And in that message it said, some water, some plants, but it is the Lord that increases. That's true. That's 100% true. God wants to work with us, right? So we water or we plant, but it is the Lord that is the one that increases. But don't get it wrong. Planting and water are important. Following God's instructions are important. That's how God knows that we are living out in faith, that we are doing the things that he is asking us and then just waiting upon his request. Now, I said last week, the Lord's providing. And I believe that. And I believe that today in my own life, I can see lots of ways how the Lord's provided. Even a perfect wife that I have, the Lord provided her in our own story, which is too long to tell here. The Lord's provided in our children, but the Lord has provided also in our church, in our food bank. This week, we had somebody call us up and say, hey, can I come in and barbecue for you? That person was not necessarily scheduled, but they said, I can come in and do it. In fact, it was their initiative. Another church had got together and made all Father's Day gifts. And they called us up and they said, hey, is it possible that we partner with you and we can give out Father's Day gifts? And then we had a ladies retreat and the ladies got together and they brought in purses and then we redistributed the purses throughout our compassionate ministry. The Lord provided. The Lord provides all the time at the sharing place. And perhaps because the Lord provides all the time at the sharing place, my faith has increased. Now, sometimes in our church isn't as large as the sharing place. Sometimes we can get into maybe a negative mindset. We don't need to be in a negative mindset. That is crazy talk because it's not up to us. All we need to do is plant. All we need to do is water. All we need to do is do the things that God has asked. And just like the story of Abraham, God will continue to provide. Right now, our church is getting ready to go through the story. So I hope you can find and purchase a book. If you come to our church, I will have a book for you. But if you're online, you better email me. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get you a book. But we invite you. August 2nd, we'll start the story. So I hope you are here with us for that. But right now, we are praying for a music person, somebody to lead the worship every single Sunday. We have some visitors come in to do that, but it would be great to have somebody consistent. And so that is our prayer. And I'm throwing that out there right here so that whenever the person shows up, I can look back on this video and I could say, the Lord has provided. Whatever you're going through in your life, God loves you. God cares for you. He has a plan for you. Walk out in faith. Don't try to do it your way. I'm sure He will provide. This is Grace. My name is Stephen, and this is church.
Jesus, my Savior. Lord, there is none like you. In all of my days, and I want to praise the wonders of your mighty love. My comfort, my shelter, tower of refuge and strength. Let every breath and all that I am never cease to worship you.